Do you know what steals your peace faster than any failure ever could? It's not losing money. It's not losing opportunities. It's not even losing people. It's worry. Worry is silent. It doesn't knock before entering your life. It slowly takes over your thoughts, your sleep, your health, and your happiness. It convinces you that thinking about a problem over and over again will somehow solve it. But here's the truth most people never realize. Worry is not control. Worry is the illusion of control. And most of the things you worry about, you were never meant to control in the first place. This is the story of a man named Daniel, a man who learned this lesson too late, but just in time to save his life. Daniel lived in a busy city. He was known as a hard-working, responsible man. He had a stable job, a loving wife, and 2 young children. From the outside, his life looked perfect. But inside, Daniel was constantly at war with his own mind. He worried about everything. He worried about losing his job. Every time his boss called him into the office, his heart would race. He would imagine the worst, being fired, losing income, disappointing his family. He worried about money. Even when he had enough, he would calculate expenses again and again, fearing something unexpected would ruin everything. He worried about his children. What if they failed in school? What if they got sick? What if something bad happened to them outside? He worried about his health. Every small pain felt like a serious illness. Every headache became something dangerous in his mind. And the worst part? Most of these things never happened. But Daniel lived as if they already had. His wife noticed it first. "Daniel," she said one evening, "you're here, but you're not really here." He looked at her, confused. "What do you mean?" "You're always thinking about something else, something bad. You never relax. Even when everything is okay, you act like something is about to go wrong." Daniel didn't respond, because deep down, he knew she was right. As the years passed, his worry began to show physically. He couldn't sleep properly. He had constant headaches. His chest would feel tight for no reason. He was always tired. Even his children started noticing. "Dad, why are you always serious?" his son once asked. That question stayed with him, because Daniel didn't want to be that kind of father, but he didn't know how to stop. One day, everything changed. Daniel was at work when he suddenly felt dizzy. His vision blurred. His heart started beating uncontrollably fast. He collapsed. His coworkers rushed him to the hospital. After several tests, the doctor came into the room and said something that shook Daniel deeply. "Your body is under extreme stress. If you continue like this, you're heading towards serious health problems." Daniel asked quietly, "What caused this?" The doctor looked at him and said one word: worry. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep, not because he was worrying, but because he was thinking. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about what if something goes wrong. He was thinking about, what am I doing to myself? A few days later, Daniel visited an old family friend named Hassan, a wise and calm man known for his peaceful nature. They sat together in silence for a while. Then Daniel finally spoke. "I don't understand. I try to think ahead. I try to prepare my family. I try to protect my family. But instead, I feel like I'm destroying myself." Hassan smiled gently. "Daniel, let me ask you something," he said. "Out of all the things you've worried about in your life, how many actually happened exactly the way you imagined?" Daniel thought carefully, and then he realized something shocking. Almost none of them. He had spent years worrying about losing his job, but he still had it. He had worried about financial disasters, but they never came. He had worried about his children's future, but they were growing just fine. All those sleepless nights for problems that never became real. Hassan leaned forward and said something Daniel would never forget. "You are trying to control what only God controls." Daniel frowned. "What do you mean?" "You are trying to control the future. You are trying to control outcomes. You are trying to control things that are not in your hands." He continued, "Tell me, can you control how long you will live?" "No," Daniel said. "Can you control every decision your children will make?" "No." "Can you control every problem that might come into your life?" Daniel shook his head. "No." Hassan smiled. "Then why are you acting like it's your responsibility?" That question hit Daniel hard because he had no answer. Hassan continued, "There are two types of things in life: things you can control and things you cannot. For the things you can control, your actions, your effort, your choices, you must take responsibility. But for the things you cannot, you must learn to let go." Daniel asked quietly, "And how do I let go?" Hassan looked at him and said, "You give it to God." Daniel didn't fully understand at first, but he was willing to try. That night, for the first time in his life, he sat quietly and did something different. Instead of replaying his worries, he spoke them out. "God, I'm worried about my job. I'm worried about my family. I'm worried about the future. I don't know what will happen, but I give it to you." It felt strange, but also relieving.
The next day, the worry came back. Of course it did. Years of habit don't disappear overnight. But this time, Daniel caught it. Instead of letting it grow, he paused and said, "This is not in my control." And then he repeated, "I give this to God." Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and slowly, something began to change. Daniel started sleeping better. His chest felt lighter. He smiled more. He laughed with his children again. He listened to his wife instead of being lost in his thoughts. For the first time in years, he felt peace. But life didn't suddenly become perfect. One day, his company announced layoffs. Old Daniel would have panicked. He would have imagined losing everything. He would have lost sleep for days. But this time, he did something different. He updated his resume. He worked harder. He prepared for the possibility. But he did not worry. He said, "I will do my part. The rest is in God's hands." And for the first time, even in uncertainty, he felt calm. Another time, his daughter fell seriously ill. He rushed her to the hospital. He stayed by her side. He prayed, but he did not let fear consume him. He said, "I cannot control this, but I trust God." His daughter recovered, but more importantly, Daniel had changed. Years later, people began to notice something about him. They would say, "Daniel, how are you always so calm? Don't you ever worry?" He would smile and say, "I used to worry about everything, but I learned something. Worrying doesn't change the future. It only destroys the present." Then he would tell them the truth. "You are carrying burdens that were never meant for you. You are trying to control things that only God can control, and it's costing you your peace." Daniel's life didn't become free of problems, but it became free of unnecessary suffering, because he finally understood something powerful. Peace doesn't come from controlling everything. Peace comes from trusting God with what you cannot control. So now, let me ask you something. What are you worrying about right now? Is it your future, your finances, your health, your family? Now ask yourself honestly, can you control it? If the answer is yes, then stop worrying and take action. But if the answer is no, then why are you carrying it? You were never meant to carry everything. You were never meant to control everything. Some things belong to God. So here's what you need to do. Take one worry, just one, and say, God, I cannot control this. I give it to you. You might have to repeat it again and again. That's okay, because letting go is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. And slowly, you will feel it. Your mind will quiet down. Your heart will feel lighter. Your life will feel different. Not because your problems disappeared, but because you stopped trying to control what was never yours. This is your turning point. Stop worrying. Do your part and leave the rest to God. Because the life you're searching for, the peace you're chasing, it begins the moment you let go.